You guys coming out, and always appreciate your coverage of our program. I know you guys have a job to do, and it's to get your stories and do what you do. But we really appreciate the coverage of our team, our players, and what we're doing in our program. I'll start just we've had 8 practices. We finished our 8th practice yesterday. We had a big scrimmage. I really love this team. I love our guys. I really enjoy going to meetings, to practice, and just enjoying this process with them right now in training camp. It's been a lot of fun. We worked extremely hard through the first 8 practices. We did it again. Had the scrimmage yesterday. We got a little banged up in the scrimmage, but nothing major. We needed it. We needed the live work, and we always get concerned about that in camp at this time of year, potentially losing a guy. But we got through it, and we'll have some guys that are bumped and bruised and miss a little bit of practice time here through this week. But overall, we're still fairly healthy. Just 2 things I'll address, right out of the gate that I'm sure guys will ask about. One is our quarterback situation. We're still in the evaluation process. We still have 3 guys that are getting reps. They're getting evaluated. We're not ready to name a starting quarterback today, so I'm sorry to disappoint you guys if that's what you're looking for. But that's not going to happen. Nothing has changed since my conversations with you last time, or Coach McNulty's. We are evaluating guys. Some guys continue to rise. Some guys are inconsistent, but hopefully through this week, we got another scrimmage next Saturday. The goal would be hopefully by the end of next Saturday, we'd maybe be in position to do something with a quarterback and naming a starter. The other one I'll just talk about is just the off-field issue. I know every time we get together, someone wants an update. There are no updates. What I told you last time is exactly the same. We were given information in July. Based on that information, myself, Pat Hobbs and Dr. Archie, went through the punishment that we felt was necessary based on that information, but nothing has changed. There's no update, no changes, and our focus is on the football team, the players that are here with us right now. Just some things I'll talk about where I think we've improved through 8 practices here in training camp. One, I think our depth overall is better than what it's been. It's not great at all positions, but overall on our football team, I think we've got more depth, especially on the offensive side of the ball at the skill positions, our wideouts, our tight ends, our running backs. I feel like we've got some pretty good depth. Just overall, the understanding of what we're asking our players to do. We go out to practice. It used to be we were coaching guys on drills, coaching them where to go on the field, how to transition, how to go hard. I think we got great practices right now. Our guys go really hard in practice. They're very efficient. Guys know what the standards are, what to expect at our practices. I think we get a lot of work accomplished in our practices, and that helps us get better a lot faster, maximize the reps that we're getting out there. Things that we've got to continue to improve. Just the fundamentals. You talk about the things that get you beat. 4 fundamentals yesterday in our scrimmage. We weren't where we wanted to be fundamentally, and that happens at this point in camp when you've had a lot of practices, you're banging around a little bit. But fundamentally, we have to get better, and mostly up front on both sides of the ball. It's a line of scrimmage game, and that's where we want to build our football team, and we've got to really get better at that part of our football team. Specialists, I think we've got some really good specialists on our football team. Some guys have done a great job in camp. Justin Davidowitz has gone from taking just the kickoffs to kickoffs and field goal PATs, and he's done an excellent job so far in camp. Very strong leg. Got a lot of trust and faith in him and his ability to put points on the board. Adam Korzak, new punter. He's missed a couple days with an eye issue, but he's done a great job since he's been here. Hadn't played a lot of football, obviously, you guys know, but he got comfortable in the spring, and so far here in training camp, I really like his leg. I think he's got a skill set, some tools that we can do some things with that a normal punter can't. Other areas of concern, just the depth up front on the D-line. I've talked about that a lot, and that's an area that we got to continue to develop some guys. I think we've got some good young players on the defensive line that just need to develop and get a lot of reps and hopefully get in position to help us and take away some of those concerns about our depth. We do have some personnel packages that we're implementing that help with that also, but that's one of the biggest areas of concern. Before I open up the questions, kind of what's next. We've got 3 weeks of training camp left. It's a long time before we kick off where the foot hits the ball against Texas State here in the stadium. We've got a lot of work to do, a lot of work. We've improved in a lot of areas. Like I mentioned, I really love the team, but we got a lot of work to do. And it just starts with being disciplined, being focused, and getting better fundamentally as a football team. Effort's not a problem. Toughness isn't a problem. I really like where we're at from that standpoint. it's putting all that together with fundamentals and execution, and that's really going to be the focus for the next few weeks as we get closer to trying to get our football team game ready before game 1. So with that, I'll go ahead and open up any questions you guys have.
You addressed everything in that opening statement.
Yeah, go easy, we're done, right?
Is there anything up with Tariq Cole? And I guess the reason I asked is he wasn't in any of the videos from your Hard Football Twitter, and it looked like Sam Bretman was playing scrimmage.
He wasn't in what?
He wasn't in any of the videos. It looked like Bretman was playing with the first.
What videos are those?
Twitter, Twitter exists.
I don't know anything about any Twitter videos. I'm looking at the script and the practice space, so whatever, whoever put up Twitter, so I don't know anything about that. But
the question is, Cole, is there anything else with him?
No, we practiced yesterday, and he got banged up a little bit, but no, he's gonna be fine. In our scrimmages, you guys hopefully can appreciate this. We know what some guys can do, and we've got to limit the reps that some guys get in live scrimmage work so they don't get hurt. Everyone's going to get bumps and bruises and things like that when you go live, but we got to make sure we've got the guys that we know can play in the game 1 healthy, and so we're going to rotate a lot of guys. We got another scrimmage next Saturday. I don't know how many of our ones will go next Saturday, to be honest with you. We're going to be 2 weeks out from a game. This last Saturday, we're 3 weeks out from a game. I feel pretty good if we got some bumps and bruises. Guys could recover and be fine and still be able to practice before we play. But to answer your question about some Twitter videos, I don't pay attention.
I just want to let you know that we're watching it. We watch it.
Well, I appreciate that.
I guess we're staying offensive line. Is Jonah Jackson going to be the right guard? Is that the plan at this point?
We would like that to be the plan, that Mike Maietti can continue to develop and play really good in there at center. Then Jonah would be the best option at right guard. If Mike can do it, Jonah's to the right. We feel pretty good about the line. Mike has done a really good job here in training camp. In spring, Mike struggled with some things, a little inconsistent, really had a great summer, and he's had a great start to camp. And if he continues on that path, then our best lineup would have Mike at center and Jonah Jackson at right guard.
And Mike Lonsdorf at left guard. It seems like he kind of took control of that spot.
Yeah, at the end of spring and here at the start of training camp, that has been the lineup. It's been Cole at left tackle, Mike Lonsdorf at left guard, Mike Maietti at center, Jonah Jackson at right guard, and Kamal Seymour at right tackle. That's been the one group that we've been trying to stay as consistent as possible with as we practice.
Chris, with the QBs, I know that they're all still getting reps, but at least in your own head, does there come a time or a moment where one is going to start to separate from the other two?
It's based on what the remote says. When we push play on the remote, who's consistent, who's making plays, and there's a feel component of it too. That who do we feel like the rest of the players on the football team and more specifically the offense, who they really believe in, who they trust, who they're going to rally around. We haven't gotten to that point yet. No. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm hoping through this next week of practice, next Saturday's scrimmage, that we're closer to really feeling who that guy is going to be. We've got to get more consistent right now. One quarterback has a great day, the next day he's not, and another quarterback does well. They're all doing some really good things. They're all learning the offense, or they all have ability to make plays, but it's just being consistent. Every day so far, we've installed new things offensively. And that separates some guys who can handle it, who can go out and take it from the meeting room to the practice field. That does separate some guys, and it does cause some guys to have some inconsistent days every time you're installing. This next week, we're going to get to the point where the installation isn't heavy. It was really heavy at the beginning. Now it's about going out and polishing things up, reviewing things, cleaning things up. So when we get to that point, I think that's when the picture may become a lot clearer.
Talk about the running back competition, particularly how Jack was done.
He's done great. He really has done great. He's had great first 8 practices. He had a really nice run yesterday in the scrimmage. What I love about Isaiah, the kid is tough, and he only knows one speed, and that's full speed. And I really like that. But still, got to worry about his ball security a little bit. He's working on that. But from where he was at in spring to where he's at today, the kid's made huge improvements. He will play for our football team this fall. How much at running back yet? I don't know. He's going to play on special teams. He'll get an opportunity at some point, I'm sure, at running back because he's still learning it. And the offense, again, it's been heavy on install. And he has good days, bad days based on how much you install and what it is, in terms of the way it affects the running back position. But I love the kid. I love his attitude and his approach to football. He's very serious about it, and he's going to help our football team.
Chris, you excited about your freshman class? I know it's early, but especially with the new redshirt rule, you excited about you might be able to get some of those?
You know, the redshirt rule, I think we've talked about it before, and I'll just hit on it again. Our approach to the redshirt rule, we're not going to have a different strategy or a new plan, so to speak, like, hey, we got this new rule, we're going to change who we play. We're going to play the guys that give us a chance to win games. Where I think the redshirt rule helps us is more at the end of the season, because this came up last year when injuries occur during the season and you start to get a little thin in certain positions. If you've had a guy that's been on the scout team and your plan was to redshirt him, now you're not worried about after you get past game 4 of playing the guy and burning a year for a few games. Now you have that 4-game rule that you can play him in the last 4 games or last 2 games, whatever it may be, and you can still preserve that red shirt. That's the way we look at it. To answer the first part of your question about overall the evaluation of the freshman class, I really like it. There are a lot of freshmen that are going to help our football team. It may not be offensively and defensively, but it's going to be on special teams for sure. In here, just talking about our kickoff coverage team last year, I think we had at 1.5 true freshmen, including the kicker, that were starting on our kickoff coverage team that finished one of the top kickoff coverage teams in the Big Ten. And we need this group of young men to come in and do that same sort of thing. Maybe not just necessarily on the kickoff coverage team, but on other units. And that's where you're going to see, hopefully, the biggest value that those guys will provide is on special teams.
Coach, we all know the scenario of having 9 coordinators in 10 years and what that means.
I don't either. I've been here for all 9 of them, so I don't either.
But you know what kind of impact that can have. Let's say you have a recruit that you're looking at, that you know that can help this team. Now, with that in mind, you know that you can get this kid in this team and do something well. How are you now prepared to recruit a kid like that, particularly when you know there are other people that's going to be in his ear talking about this team is not consistent, but how are you going to convince them?
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age of college football, if you look around the landscape of college football, coaches come and go like no other right now. That's part of the business, and there's no guarantees. There's not. And I know there's a perception out there that something's not right, but that's not the case. It happens everywhere, and it happens a lot. The only thing I can say to a recruit is, I have a plan, I have a style of offense, defense, and special teams that I want to see in this program. And as a coach comes or a coach goes, I'm going to try to replace that guy with someone that fits our style of play that we want. It's going to be consistent. Going to teach it the way that we want to teach it. We're going to play the way that we want to play it. And that's the overall program philosophy. Right now we've got, you mentioned offensive coordinator. Coach McNulty is here. Coach McNulty had a job when he came here. Okay, so what does that tell? What kind of a message does that send people? He wanted to be here. You look at all the new coaches we hired, all of them had jobs. They didn't hire a guy that was out of work. So that the message is they wanted to come here because they believe in what we're doing, how we're doing it, and what we can accomplish here at Rutgers. And that's really the message to recruits. Again, it's college football, and people come and go a lot, and everyone's got different reasons for making decisions. I've done it. I was an assistant. I've done it. And that's just part of the deal. But the style of play that we want to play with will not change.
Chris, just in regards to the situation going on at Maryland, just how important is it just regularly just to take stock of student athlete welfare and just making sure that that remains a high priority?
I'll just, I'm not going to make any comments about any other program. Everyone saw an article. I saw an article, and I don't take any stock in articles. I'm worried about our program, and student athlete welfare is really important to us. We want to provide a great experience for our student athletes here at Rutgers. We want to make sure that we're trying to do everything we can to provide the resources for them to be successful in the classroom, on the field, and socially, and set them up for a great future. Is that always easy? No, it's not. And that's what we worry about, what we focus on, and everybody does it different. But I'm focused on our football team and how we do business here.
Talk about Davidowitz, and is it safe to say that he'll be your place kicker start the season?
Yeah, unless something were to happen, and he is right now.
And the other part is, how confident are you beyond 40 yards, which has been a problem for the last few years, that you'll be better beyond 40 yards and get more points out of it?
When you say beyond 40 yards, you're talking about field goals?
Yeah.
Those are hard kicks. it takes a pretty special kicker to be consistent from over 40 yards. So, you know, to say that we're going to be a lot better, I'll tell you after we have some of those situations, you know, because what happens in practice versus what happens in games are two different things. You know, you got a lot more eyes on you, a lot more pressure, you know, in a game, and that holds true not only for a kicker but for all positions. You can see something on the practice field where a guy can perform and do his job and excel in those type of situations, and he gets on the game field, he can. You know, our job as coaches is to try to recreate those situations as much as we can so they get comfortable in them. And I've got a complete faith in Justin Davidowitz to go out there and put points on the board when we need them. And you know, when we start to get that far, 40 plus, those are hard kids, and percentages are obviously going to drop in those situations. So, you know, by the time we start, we'll know what his range is, and we'll have to make decisions, you know, every game like we always do. Of do we try to go for a field goal? Do we try to go for it, or do we punt? And there's no perfect formula for that right now, 3 weeks from a game. We still have to evaluate what his range is going to be, and every game scenario is different. It's not like, hey, the ball is here, it's 40 yards, let's always just go kick it. That's not the case. A lot of it has to do with the situation of the game, the time left, the score, the weather. There's a lot of things that go into it.
Coach, how would you compare the first team you ever had here during training camp in terms of preparation, their mindset, to the one that you currently have?
You know, I really, like I mentioned before, I really like this football team. And the reason is the first year that we were here, the first training camp that we were here, it was the first time we all went through it together. And it was different for everybody, different for coaches, different for players. Going into year 3, not all of the people in the room, but the majority of the people in the room know what to expect. For a lot of them, it's the only thing that they know. And so it's a lot easier when that's the case. When everybody's going through it for the first time together and it's new, there are challenges. There are things that you have to adjust and adapt. There is a lot more just coaching the process than it is coaching the fundamentals and the schemes. Right now, when we go out to practice, we're more concerned about the fundamentals and the schemes and not necessarily the drill setup, the location, the effort. The focus is completely different because more guys in the room have gone through it, and they know exactly what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, where it's going to be held, what the coaching points are. Now let's just go focus on the fundamentals and the execution of the drills.
I guess this is easier for you too then.
Nothing's ever easy. No, it's, to some extent, yes. You know, when I say nothing's ever easy, because every day you go out to practice, what does a coach want? He wants to have a perfect practice. And that's very hard to do. So every day you go out to practice, you're trying to get a little bit better, you're trying to do this drill better, this period better, and you want to walk off that field saying, you know what, we got one. We got the best practice we've ever had. And unfortunately for us as coaches, when that doesn't happen, you get disappointed. So that's always the constant challenge, always the competitive spirit in us is to try to get that done. I would say we're getting a lot more out of our practices right now in this training camp in year 3 than we were in year 1.
I guess what, if anything, different have you done to emphasize getting more takeaways? I know it's been a struggle to get
We do a lot to emphasize takeaways. Every meeting, every drill, everything that we do. One thing I would tell you, you know, I've been doing this a long time. There are years that teams are really good at takeaways, and it's just because it happened. There are other years that you work on takeaways and emphasis more so than you've ever done in your career, and you don't get them. Okay, there's a lot that goes into it. So I'll talk about defensively. When I evaluate what we need to do to try to get more takeaways, it's doing a better job of stopping the run. Because if you can't stop the run, and you don't force the opponent to throw the ball, and then if you can't rush the passer the way you need to, you're not going to force more takeaways. That's a big part of it. We have to get more interceptions. To get more interceptions, we've got to stop the run. We've got to be able to rush the passer more. We've got to put more pressure on the quarterback. Those are the things that we have to do to increase our takeaways. It's not an emphasis. It's not drill work. It's going out and playing fundamentally sound football to stop the run and be better on first and second down. You know, we talk about red zone. It's no different. You know, red zone defense or red zone offense. When I look at what we need to do, we practice red zone defense and offense here as much as anywhere I've ever been in my career. Okay, what we need to do though is do better out in the middle of the field, not let guys get into the red zone, And offensively, we have to get in the red zone more. So it's not the emphasis placed on that situation or on the takeaways. It's all the things that lead up to getting you in a situation where you can create more takeaways or be better in the red zone because you're not letting them down there.
Two more questions. One back there. Speaking of defense, Noah Joseph, you have a long relationship with him. What has his addition meant for you in terms of that continuity, and how has he, his experience helped push this better defense forward in year 3?
Yeah, a couple things. You mentioned the relationship. That's really where it starts. I think when you bring in somebody you have a relationship with, there's a level of trust in how they're going to coach and teach and how they're going to respond to what you want. Because Noah came here, I had a long history with him. I coached him. He was a GA for me. We talked football a lot, but he's still been a part of different systems, different programs, taught it differently. What he has added here is the trust that he'll do it the way that I want it done, and he's done just that. And he's also brought a level of really passion and energy to the room and to that position that I think we need to continue to push us forward. He's a fireball out on the practice field. He's coaching hard, he's coaching fast, he's coaching a lot, and our players have really responded to him, and I'm excited about what he's brought to the group. Him and Corey Robinson both have done a great job with our secondary, and I love the teaching, I love the drill work, I love the coaching that's going on out of those two guys. It's constant, it's nonstop. Players are responding to them. They've done a great job of connecting with the players, and I think we're in a great spot with both of those secondary coaches and where we're at with our DBs.
One there, and then
Chris, where do you see Jabby on your depth chart?
He's going to be in the mix at wide receiver for sure, and he's going to help us on special teams. To say he's a 1 or a 2 yet on the depth chart, I couldn't tell you that right now. He has missed some practice here in training camp with an ankle. He should be back out there here this week and be 100%. But I love the kid, absolutely love him. He's all ball. He's serious about what he's doing. He's a great team guy. He's a leader in the wide receiver room. He just takes a lot of ownership in special teams. He wants to help the football team any way he can. And man, he's just a pleasure to be around, and I really like watching how he works and how he interacts with other players and coaches.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Next Saturday is Fan Appreciation Day. Is that a true scrimmage, and is that a good day to maybe put a spotlight on the quarterbacks and see what they can do?
A lot of that will depend on how the week goes. Again, we had a big scrimmage yesterday. We had some guys banged up. A lot of it will depend, how they respond and when they come back. And just see where we're at with some of the guys that we know are going to be starters and have played a lot. For an example, if we put quarterbacks out there with the number 2 offensive line, it's probably not a fair evaluation of the quarterbacks because they're not working with the 1-0 line. Well, I'm not going to put all the 1-0 line out there and run the risk of somebody getting hurt 2 weeks from the game. So we got a lot of work to do this week. Next Saturday we'll scrimmage. What type of scrimmage it will be and who will be in it will depend on this week. And there's a lot that goes into that. So I hope when we talk about the quarterback position, as mentioned after last Saturday's scrimmage, it may be a really good evaluation opportunity for them if all the pieces around them are there. If all of them are not, for whatever reason, it might not be a great opportunity to evaluate what they would look like in a game. So we have a lot of work to do and a lot of conversations we need to have as a staff before we get to next Saturday's scrimmage.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you guys. Take care.
Victoria and Avi are going to take